Yeah, we are here. The legacy builders in the building. We got Rashida here. Kalim's on his way. So today we're talking about pockets change with the weather. So what does that mean? What is that all about?
Yeah, man. Pockets change with the weather, man, just like it sounds, man. You know, a lot of times you don't realize how everything around us impact our pockets, meaning from where you live at to things just changing. I mean, you know, just to give prime example, about 2 weeks ago, I was up in Jersey and, you know, my area flooded. I'm talking about it was crazy rainstorms and the whole East Coast got hit and the area just flooded. You know what I mean? My city, I was lucky my house was good, but I went out to the gym on some stupid shit, you know what I mean? Like in the middle of the storm, trying to get a workout, couldn't get back home for 3.5 hours, even though it was like 1 mile away from my house.
Right.
You know what I mean? I should have turned around, but I think it was, you know, but but the moral of the story is that everywhere was flooded. No, it was stupid. I should have turned around. But I got to go to the gym. No, it ain't that serious.
I got too many jokes. I got too many. Your ass ain't even about the gym like that, nigga. What the fuck you doing?
That's what I'm trying. That's what I'm trying to stay consistent. That discipline.
I feel it.
Right after this.
But yeah, nah, man. Everything was flooded out, man. I mean, cars all underwater.
Yeah.
Everything. And the crazy part about it is that the reason why I say it affects your pockets because we know everybody's insurance rates is going up. You know, the whole state was on flood warning. You know, the surrounding cities and my city was heavily, bunch of cars in the water. So those claims are going to go up. Insurance is going to go up. So that ties right into where, you know, weather impacts your pockets. Because that means in another 6 months when the policy renews, what they're going to say, oh, you know, it was a lot of devastating storms, a lot of payouts. We had to increase your policy by 5 to 10%. So that's how important it is. And on a deeper level, let's think about it on a simple standpoint. For a while, everybody was telling me like, yo, New Jersey, the way it's set up, you know, the infrastructure is not bad. They got to do a better job. And there's politics stuff. But, you know, I'm not paying attention. I think it's a real thing. But it proves that point because when it rained, I was like, yo, what is this? Why does it seem like we in some old school movie where the city's just flooded? I'm talking about deep waters. People could swim in it. I'm like, but this is affects where you live at can impact how your pockets. Right. Think about if you live in Florida and all the storms and all that type of stuff. Yeah, it's hot and sunny, and overall the cost might be lower to live. But then if you don't got the right shutters in your house or the house built the right way, your house will blow away. Your insurance is going up, and just the cost of living goes up. So where you live at and the weather really impacts how your pockets can impact your pockets. Should I say?
Damn. So, Kelly, what's going on, man? So, what's your thoughts on all this?
Yeah, man. Definitely, man. Climate is going to affect the, you know, your pockets. Think about it like this. Also with food. Think about the trucks and you know, how transportation. How is your food going to get to your local supermarkets if there's massive floods? You know, it's gonna take longer for the trucks to get to. For the trucks to get to that location.
This guy, pause on his mic. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it's going to take longer for those trucks to get to that location. And so what's going to happen is the increase of the price on the food is going to go up because, you know, supply and demand. That store is going to have a limited supply of food. Hence, they're going to have to charge a higher price for that food because it's going to take longer for that food to get to your local market. Off of how long these floods are going to take to, you know, to clear up. So people don't understand it, you know, when it comes to, you know, weather plays a huge impact on how much you're going to be spending. And that's why we always say that you have to have some type of emergency fund for these reasons. Because you just don't, the truth is you don't know what's going to happen. You can't, and more importantly, you can't control what's going to happen, especially when it comes to the weather. So, but it's like a ripple effect. One job can affect another job that affects how you live on a day-to-day basis. And people don't realize how important that is. So I just think when it comes to like agriculture and food, that's one way that it will affect your pockets is through the shortage of that food, you know.
That's crazy because I never even thought about it like that as far as like the weather and how that impacts certain things and how that causes other things to go down. Because when you think about it, I think we forget sometimes that everything is connected. So it's like this is connected to that. So then that's connected to this.
Yep.
And then that causes this to go down. It's like, so yeah, that's crazy. So what do y'all think? What are y'all thoughts on, like, let's say somebody does live somewhere, in Florida, or live in a place where the weather or certain conditions will cause them to have to use more money to just in case of emergency or whatever. Should they like have a separate account for like emergencies like that, or like what would be your thought on that?
Yeah, well, I would definitely say they should definitely have an emergency account. 3 to 6 months worth of monthly expenses just put to the side for any reason at all. Anything can go wrong. You should have that aside. Whether you have it, I would say ideally have that in a separate account. But just make sure you have that money in general. Why? Because you're gonna need it at some point. Also, not just the money aspect, but the aspect of you may have to evacuate. What if you have to evacuate? Where are you gonna go? So you may have to have a location where you're connected with some people, some family, to where, hey, just in case this happens, I'm gonna need to stay by you for a while, right? And then also, there's some, a lot of people, they have jobs to where they physically go into the job, right? It's in your better interest to also have a job or do something to where you're working from home, or you have an online job to where you can work from anywhere. Because what if you're only working from the location that you're at? Then it's like, how do you leave? Are you gonna leave your whole life behind? Because think about it. You have a family, you got, a wife or a husband, you got children. So that your whole life may change. But if your income is still coming in, you can still make adjustments because the kids can go to another school. You get what I'm saying? So those things can still be adjusted. But it's important to think about these things, that when you only solely have work that's in your local area, and it is an area to where it can get flooded out, or it's prone to like hurricanes and things, or earthquakes and things of that nature, you must realize that you are putting yourself in a predicament to where you can lose tremendously. You can lose everything. So you want to put yourself in that position.
That's crazy.
That's true,
man.
I mean, the other thing is just being aware of your surroundings, being aware of everything. Meaning that, if you're in the Northeast, winter time's coming up. You got to have that money for them snow tires. You know what I mean? Just being self-aware to the basic little things, man. Snow tires. Money for the shovel. You got to have money for salt. If you're shoveling your joint, you know what I mean. Even if you rent an apartment, you got to have your snow brush for your car. You know what I mean. Even if you're on foot, you got to have your Timbs for the weather. Like, these are things people don't really think about till you out there with church shoes and slipping all over the place and bust your ass. You know what I mean? Like, these are real things where you gotta, be mindful of your surroundings. The same thing if you in a place like Florida where it floods and all that type of stuff, you gotta have your rain boots ready. All this type of stuff, you gotta be self-aware. A lot of times we just walk around not really paying attention to our surroundings, what's going on. I mean, even in the summertime in the Northeast, sometimes it be, droughts out here.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where living in a crib, sometimes they give us warnings like, hey, you be careful how much water you're using because we're running low on water. That means you can't water your grass as much as you can. That means your flowers might die, your grass might die. Like, all this type of stuff be real life stuff. And sometimes we be too busy with life to be paying attention to all these simple stuff, but it be real.
Nah, that's true.
Did y'all hear about, because I think they said something about Hawaii, they was preparing for like a tsunami or some shit, or what's happening recently. And that's the thing that I was thinking of too, because I went to Hawaii, what was it, like a year or two ago? And my first time there, and I was like, yo, Hawaii is fire, it's amazing. And I was like, this is the only place I've ever been to where I would move to besides wanting to live in New York. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, this shit's fire. But then I keep hearing about, this type of shit that could happen where floods and tsunamis and all this other crazy shit. So then it's like, you would have to also take into account that if you're gonna move there to think about it. Or even like, didn't they used to have a bunch of earthquakes in California or some shit?
Yeah, San Andreas fault.
Like all those things. Like, so it's like, so do you think that people even think about that? Or is it just like, they don't really think about it until after it's done? Like, oh shit, I didn't realize I was gonna have to like.
Well, I think people do, I think people do think about it, but I think they're weighing it out on a Libra scale of, what's the two of the lesser evils.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to have to take something. Where here, like, you know, here in New York, we get like all the seasons, right?
Right.
Summertime are good, but when it's cold, it's cold. You get what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
But when it's, you know, if you go down south, you get more heat, but then you might have to experience the floods and the hurricanes. California, it's you know, it's beautiful out there, but you may have to deal with earthquakes. So it's just a question of, I think people are aware of it, but it's just what can you tolerate? You know, I think that's just what it boils down to. You know, and even to that, like there's a lot of mental and physical like stress that comes along with like these, you know, climatic changes. You know, people have different illnesses. People have they go through PTSD. They go through stress, you know, based off of the poor conditions that their house is left in that they didn't expect to happen, but now they have to go through these things, right? So there's a lot that goes along, not just the financial aspect to it, but the mental and physical health. Like Rob was saying earlier, the premiums on your insurance may go up, right? But because you're visiting the doctor more because of this, you know, so your cost of just going to the doctor is going to increase, you know, so there's so many different aspects to just the day-to-day, like Mother Nature. Like people don't realize like your Mother Nature is going to have her last words regardless. Like we stuck in this bubble to where we just live in our day-to-day, like Rob was saying, but we don't realize that outer source is still in control because the weather will like dictate what's going to actually happen no matter what.
Yo,
you know, it's crazy though, because, you know, K over here lying to the people. Nah. You know what I mean? People only become aware when something dramatic happens. You know what I mean? Like that's when people become aware. To be honest, if we being honest, like 5% actually think about the real stuff. You know what I mean? I'll give you a personal story. I use K as an example.
Oh, he about
a few years ago,
exposing Kaleem from Legacy Builders US.
Yes. You know what I mean? Kay didn't realize, you know what I mean, like the breathing situation with asthma until whatever. Until the asthma situation, you realize like, yo, I can't be in the cold like this whole time. You know what I mean? Like was building up in his chest over the years. And he finally realized like, yo, this cold ain't for me. And if I'm gonna live in New York, I'm gonna live a certain way, XYZ, to help that breathing. But you ain't realize that till you realize that. You know what I mean? Like those times when these things happen.
I ain't gonna. I'm the same way. I'll be like after the fact, like shit. I should have done.
Exactly.
Right, so I'm going to counteract that. I'm going to play devil's advocate because it wasn't. First off, I'm born and raised in New York. I was in New York for over 30 years of my life, right? So I'm aware of the cold, right? In regards to so I always knew that I didn't want to stay in the state of New York because of the cold weather, and I've experienced living in the South. That's how I can compare the two because I went to high school in the South, right? What made it worse for me, not that I wasn't aware of it, but what made it worse is when I had breathing issues because it wasn't the cold, it was the fact that my life changed because of the breathing issues. So the weather ain't having too much to do with it. That was just one of the variables that I had to add into the factor of why I wanted to leave New York. But it had nothing necessarily to do with because I know it's cold. It's New York City.
So let's rewind what you just said. Okay. You said it was the weather that gave me breathing issues.
No. I said that it wasn't the weather that gave me breathing issues. I had breathing issues because I was smoking. So if we want to get into it,
smoking.
That's why I was in a hospital. So let's get into it. That's why I was in a hospital. Because of my smoking, I stopped smoking. Ironically, when I stopped smoking, I caught breathing issues. I caught a muscle spasm, and then it turned into pneumonia. That's what the doctors told me, right? And so when that happened, it was another level of awareness. Not that I wasn't aware of the cold, but it was another level of awareness, knowing that the cold is going to affect that. So it had nothing to do with that.
Let's get this work.
So back to the percentages. I think it's more than 5% of people, right? Just so you know. Okay, I'm not lying to the people.
It's all right. Still cold, still impact your decision. That's what I'm trying to say.
I hear you. I
think I might be the only guy that exists that actually likes living in New York. I think I might be the only one left.
You might be.
They be like, I'm trying to move. I'm trying to get up out of here. I'm gonna be like Will Smith in I Am Legend in New York.
New York is convenient. New York is convenient, and and bringing it back full circle, it is expensive to live in New York, but you're paying for convenience.
Right.
That's why a lot of places, you have to drive to get from point A to point B. It's a luxury to live in New York and you having a car, because you don't necessarily have to have a car in New York. You can just literally take the public transportation, or you could take an Uber everywhere you go. So you don't necessarily, it's the convenience that New York was given to us since we were children.
Right.
Why you're like, you know what? Why? Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Where am I going? But once you experience other locations, and once you experience a different way of living, it does open your eyes a little bit to see, okay, there's more than just, New York,
But it's funny, you were talking about with the weather, I know in New York, like, we got all the different seasons that come through, and it just be like hot, cold, warm, and all this other shit. But when it's like real cold, you gotta turn that heat up. You know what I'm saying? You gotta pay for that. And when it's hot, you gotta turn that air conditioner up, then you gotta pay for that. So it's like, the bills be crazy because of the weather. It's like, shit, I gotta, you know what I'm saying? This should be insane. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, God damn. So that's also something that impacts it too, because I think too, people don't even remember that. Cause like, let's say you have a structure of how your bills are being paid, and you say, generally my Con Ed bill is $75. And then one day in the summer, your shit is $275. You're like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how the hell did this happen? You know what I mean? But it's like you said, the weather caused you to use more air conditioning and all this other shit. And now your shit is, like freaking almost three times the amount. That's shit crazy. You know what I'm saying?
To your point, I'm super Jamaican though. In the wintertime though, the heat be on like 65. You got to wear long sleeve shirts and long johns. No. So save on that bill, bro. Like,
that's a fact. That'd be the stupid shit too. No, that's a fact. When it's hot, it's like you got to pay that bill for the air conditioner, because that shit is a beast. When it's like not like the other day, it was like almost 100 something degrees in New York. Remember, I think like a month or so ago. Mm-hmm. And it was like hell. It was fucking hell. So it was like you had to it's like you had no choice, because you can like literally die from that heat. You know what I'm saying?
Imagine being the construction worker or the person working outside in that heat, right?
I'd have been sick. I'd have been like,
it went up to 130 degrees.
That's crazy. Damn. That's crazy.
People were passing out. People died from heat exhaustion. It was bad.
Mm-hmm.
People don't realize, once again, Mother Nature wins again. So you have to think about these things too. When you're in a certain field, when you're in a certain career, you just think about when you're getting hired for that job in that season. Right. If you get hired in the summertime, could you do the same thing in the wintertime?
Yeah.
People don't think about those things. And then because of that, some people may call out a little more because they don't want to be in the cold, or they just end up leaving that job because they realize, okay, I can deal with it in the summertime, but I can't deal with it in the wintertime. Right. So or vice versa, I can deal with it in the wintertime, but it's way too hot to deal with this heat in the summertime. And so depending on what the job is, you got to think about that too, and how it's affecting your pockets.
Yeah, that's actually real. Because like, let's say if I'll be looking at sometimes these DoorDash drivers that be delivering motherfuckers food. It's like if it's like super rainy, cold, or crazy hot, like having to deal with that as a fucking motherfucker on a bike with food, and it's just like you probably be like, man, you know what I'm saying? So
I'll tell you this too. I used to work at the restaurant, right? And obviously in the restaurant, it's hot during the summertime in that kitchen. So it's like it brings out a nasty mood in people. Like people get the chef is pissed.
Right.
Chef is pissed. The cook, the people on the cook line, they pissed off because they got to withstand that heat and deal with these crazy customers.
Right.
And then it's that type of energy. The person cooking your food, you're like, I don't want to eat this because they mad because it's hot.
They cooked it with hate.
It's
and they cooked it with hate
in the kitchen. Like what do you expect? You get what I'm saying? The lobby might be nice and cool, but inside that back area with a stove is blazing hip hop and R&B out there. So it's so you don't realize it just be those little things that can make a huge difference.
Right.
You on a train, you on an MTA train, it's nice and cool. But once you get out that train or you underground, Mr. Lucario is.
Oh yeah, that's the worst.
That heat underground, it's like a sauna in there. So it's crazy.
Nah, it'd be crazy though, because sometimes I remember like when it would be real hot and you'd be outside, like let's say downtown Brooklyn or Manhattan or whatever, and you would literally just go into a store because you felt the air conditioner. Yeah, like, let me go in here real quick. You don't even know your body. You don't even want to buy nothing. You just want to sit there. But again, they're paying for that fucking air conditioning. You know what I'm saying? Like they gotta, they gotta do all of that shit. So it's funny because it's like, even for example, the weather fucking up airlines. Absolutely. The flights that get canceled and you know what I'm saying? All of that shit that they losing money because of the fucking weather and shit. So
and it's funny because depending on what industry you're in, business may pick up somewhere else.
So right.
If you're at the airport, the airline may lose business, but guess who gains business that night? The hotels, because guess what? Somebody got to stay.
Exactly.
So it depends on what industry you in. It can fluctuate. And that's the irony, and I guess the good thing about business when it comes to your pockets is that certain industries and even the construction industry, they're gonna keep those construction workers in business. They're gonna have a job because they're gonna have to once again fix up these homes that got flooded and renovations, things like that. So they're gonna be in business, but then another market or another company may not go out of business, but lose business based off of a flood situation. So I think it always has its ups and its downs. There's always a good and bad to everything. I think the level of awareness is what's important in regards to the weather and how it could affect us. But yeah, I think that's the most important thing is that as people being aware of it and not taking it for granted and doing more for the just in case factor. Because it can happen. It will happen. It's funny. Anybody watch that movie 2012?
Yeah. That's one of my favorite disaster movies. I love that shit.
And I don't know if anybody's paying attention, but I am. And the little thing, one of the first things that happened in that movie, one of the first places that got affected, well, 2 locations, China and
California.
And that's happening right now.
Right. That's crazy.
That's literally happening right now. And they said years ago, even we just brought it up earlier with California and the San Andreas fault. It's a fault line that's cracking. And they saying, this is what they say, that at some point, I don't know which year it's going to happen, but San Andreas fault is going to crack off of California. That's what they say.
That's crazy.
Who knows? But once again, that's weather definitely affected. And where they live in.
Crazy. Could you imagine if you lived there and then one day you wake up and that shit is in the middle of the ocean, you on a whole nother island and shit, and you're like, what the fuck?
Nah, it's real, man. Even with the California thing, to your point, remember with the fires. Remember all the fires happened. I don't know if you remember what happened earlier this year where insurance companies been doing this. Insurance companies pulling out of areas. And people don't even have house insurance. So a lot of people's houses burned down and they had no insurance to build it back up. So imagine you having a $700,000-$800,000 house, you paid most of the mortgage off, and now your house burnt down, you don't got no insurance, and you don't got no house to live in, and you got to start fresh. And you still owe the mortgage. Talk about affecting your pockets on the highest level. And that happens to a lot of people in California.
Wait. So you say your house burned up and they still got to pay the mortgage?
Yeah, you owe that money.
They don't have
money. Yeah.
Wow. What?
Listen, it's the same thing with car insurance. A lot of people be riding dirty. The difference is with a house is you done.
So you can't.
You have a higher bill.
You can't go to the bank and just be like, I didn't do nothing. You be like, I ain't do nothing. That's my fault.
It's not my fault. It's not my fault, Your Honor.
It's real. It's real out here. You know what I mean?
Damn, that's crazy. Oh my God. That's wild though.
You may want to get a house with a lot of land that's far, like have a gated house too, to where you got extra space just in case the forest fires come. I don't know, but that's kind of crazy. I ain't gonna lie to you. Yeah, wow. I didn't know that. I didn't know you still had to pay your mortgage.
Because I thought if it's a disaster, they kind of say, you know what, it ain't your fault, man. It's okay.
That'd be nice.
There's no insurance. There's no insurance, I guess, clause that states that based off.
Again, to your point, so that's been happening, and that happened a lot of times. Insurance companies and banks, It's all consumer stuff going on at the end of the day. If the bank pulled out and dropped your insurance policy and you a 65, 70-year-old person that's not tech savvy and they send the letters, you ain't open up the letters and you don't have an online profile and you ain't realize your policy was canceled because they send a letter. But they sent the letter and you didn't realize your policy canceled 4 months ago. That's on you. They're going to say, how would you not paying attention to your policy not being canceled? So things like that happen all the time. You know what I mean? And then at that point, you can't just go and get back your house. That's it. You're done.
Damn.
You know what I mean?
Shout out to Hakeem. We said all those fires in the Palisades in California, homeowners still got to run it. Wow.
Yeah. It's real. It's real.
That's crazy.
Damn.
It's not a game, bro.
Yeah, that's messed up, man. It's like you paying for some shit that ain't even, you know what I mean? Like, God damn.
And think about it. Guess who's gonna get rich off of these? The same banks. The same banks are gonna get rich off that because now they can resell that house for the new value of the house. You know what I mean? And new contractors and new investors come in and buy that property. I mean, these are houses in California. It's like the average house in California, even on the lowest point, is like $300,000-400,000 at minimum. You know what I mean? So you're talking about maybe a house that's worth $1.7-2 million. A bank get that? Like they making a killing. They done made $500,000-600,000 off that person that was paying on it already, and then be up another $2 million. Multiply that times thousands upon thousands of house. Like it's not a game.
Damn. The bankers are the real criminals. I'll tell you that.
And all that shit because of some fucking damn. You know what I'm saying? That's wild, man. Listen, man. Listen, God is good, man. He lets you know that that's why you gotta enjoy your shit because at any moment
it'll all be over.
Yo, my shit is I don't know what's going on.
Keep freezing.
Yeah. I saw freezing. Yeah.
It might be you might have to do a new HDMI cord with the joint. Yeah, that's
the weather, bro. It's the weather.
So any last things you want to say about this topic? What should people look for? And also, if you guys have any events coming up, let people know.
Yeah, man. I mean, just being aware of your surroundings. That's the main key thing. Being aware of your surroundings. Definitely go to the site. We can help you out with budgeting and preparing for these type of things at the end of the day. And then I know we got another event coming up here on September 27th, K?
Yeah, September 27th, Vision and Vibes. It's another finance and fun event going down in Greenbrook, New Jersey from 12 to 2 a.m. 2 a.m. 10 to 2 p.m.
10 to 2, yeah, 10 to 2.
10 to 2 p.m. That's going down. Go to the site. It's on the site. And go ahead and get your tickets. It's $30. Go ahead and get your tickets. We're going to have definitely different keynote speakers, food, drinks, mimosas, like nonstop mimosas. So make sure you have some. Nothing else. Come get a drink, get some good food, get some great information. Hang out with Legacy Builders. Outside of that, we have our casket ready workshop that we're going to be having every Monday. Later on today, we're going to be doing that. Right, that's going down, and we're going to be talking about the benefits to having life insurance, the importance of why you should be protecting you and your family. So definitely check that out. We're going to be streaming live on different platforms, with YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. So we're going to be all over the place with this. So just look out for that. Outside of that, that's all we got going down right now. Once again, like Ross said, go ahead or go to the site, book a free consultation. It's not going to be free for long, guys. So while it still is, go ahead and book that free consultation. Let's talk about it, whether you want to own the property, thinking about owning the property, where should you live based off of the climatic changes that can happen in different areas. So where should you live? It could also give you recommendations for what your goals and dreams are for you and your family. Let's fix that credit. Let's get that policy to protect you and your home, and things of that nature. So go ahead, give us a call, man. Get the website, and that's it.
That's what's up. Yeah, man. So, guys, make sure you guys go to legacybuildersus.com. We will holler at you guys later. And remember, the truth is inside you. Yeah.